Today, we're going to take a look at two of the hottest self practice topics that I've come across with my students over the past few weeks, as well as what I've seen in online discussion forums. The first one that we're going to look at is how to deal with clock anxiety. That moment when the timer starts ticking away in your self speaking exam and suddenly your brain goes utterly blank in response. If you struggle with this, in just a few moments, you'll have a practical strategy to try that will help you be ready the next time you face that clock. The second hot topic comes from Reddit, where this common question or a variation of it was posted. And I quote, I was just about to start my speaking task response when the person next to me started talking and giving their response. The noise completely threw my concentration, and I couldn't stop hearing what was going on around me. It ruined everything. Now, if your struggle on the CELPIP is staying focused when it gets noisy, then please stay tuned because today you're going to come away with a simple practice routine that will help you get ready for any noise you might encounter on your exam day. As I mentioned in the opening, one of the hottest topics that I come across is that of dealing with clock anxiety on the CELPIP. And by clock anxiety, I mean that when the timer on the CELPIP begins to tick away at the start of your answer, you suddenly find that every word you know in English vanishes into thin air. You totally freeze up and can't get two thoughts that make sense come together. And if you do somehow manage to start getting words out to answer the first question, you find it nearly impossible to focus on what to say next because your eyes are locked on that timer that seems to be ticking away so freaking fast. It's all you can think about. And well, you get stuck. And before you know it, your time is up. Here are my top two suggestions for you, and they're directly related to each other. The first, start practicing against the clock. When you practice your speaking task responses on your own, record yourself and time yourself. This might surprise you because it surprises me, but I frequently hear back from clients that their very first experience practicing their speaking task responses against the clock came when they started working with me. Again, this shocks me every time I hear it. If you've been a regular listener of this podcast, then you've heard me talk about this a few times. You must practice against the clock so you can get used to how it feels. This means you actually need to time yourself as you give your speaking task responses. This might sound complicated, but fear not. You likely already have everything that you need in your hand or your pocket right now, your cell phone. Here's how to do it. First, you need to start now. The best way to deal with clock anxiety is to begin facing it months before your exam day, not a week or a few days before. You also need to use your cell phone's timer app. You'll need three different times. You need to set up a timer for 30 seconds for brainstorming and 60 and 90 seconds for speaking. The only speaking tasks that are 90 seconds long are task 1, where you're giving advice, and task 7, where you're expressing opinions. All the rest are 60 seconds long. And the last thing that you're going to need is your cell phone's voice memo app to record your answers. But before you begin, make sure that you don't leave out time to practice brainstorming. Every speaking task will give you at least 30 seconds to quickly come up with what you'd like to talk about, except for task 5 and task 6, which will give you a whole 60 seconds. You need to use this time, my friend. And yes, you should practice using it. The folks at CELPIP are giving you this prep time for a reason. Be sure to take advantage of it by practicing how to use it well before your test day. And during your practice, make sure you're actually working against that clock. As you're recording your answer, keep an eye on your timer. Remember that timer I told you about a few minutes ago? Before you start talking, hit start on that timer and start watching it as you're giving your answer. My friend, don't overlook this. This is a skill in and of itself. It takes practice to get used to keeping your eyes, it takes practice to get used to keeping your ideas flowing while watching your time. The trap is to pay attention to only one thing or the other. Either you're laser focused on the clock, which has the tendency to mess you up as you speak, or you forget the clock altogether to concentrate on what you're going to say next. And the result is that you're probably going to go over your time limit. Like I said, you need to practice keeping your eye on the time. Not watching it every second, but glancing at it every few seconds is important so that you know how much time you have left. And then you also need to make sure you have time to finish well. Make it your goal to finish giving your answer in the last 10 seconds of each time limit. And here's a hint: use the last 10 seconds to give a quick conclusion statement, and always try your best to be completely done talking before your time is up. And that's it. Sorry. And that's it. Now, I bet you're thinking, dang it, Aaron, that's a lot to take in. And that doesn't sound very simple to do. But I promise you, once you get into doing it, you'll find it's not really as hard as it sounds. But don't neglect this kind of practice. It's something that you need to actually do if you want to feel calm and confident against the clock on your test day. And before I go on to hot topic number two, let me just repeat myself here because I know for a fact there's popular opinion out there on the web that claims I don't need to work against the clock. I'm a great speaker. I talk every day in English. There's no need to waste my time doing this kind of thing. It's a piece of cake. Here's the truth: even if you are a great English speaker, I promise you that if you're not ready for it, that clock on your exam day is going to come for you. Why? Because it's totally unnatural. It's unnatural to be answering a random, unexpected question with a 60 or 90-second time limit attached to it. We simply don't do this in real life, do we? For this very reason, the clock is the downfall of many test takers. And if you don't believe me, start hunting through threads on Reddit or in Facebook study groups. You'll quickly see that it's a topic that comes up a lot. And not being prepared to face this ticking foe has cost many people many points. And you know what's even worse? Clock anxiety is totally preventable. All you need to do is get your reps in while timing yourself with each practice answer. The more you repeat this process, setting the time, setting your time limit, recording your response against that time limit, and the more you repeat this process, setting the right time limit and recording your response against that time limit, the better and more comfortable you will become. And that leads me to point two in this answer. You must put your reps in. Reps are repetitions. If you've been following me on LinkedIn, then you might have noticed that I've started sharing videos along with mostly text posts. I've had several goals with my video posts, and one of them is to practice sharing helpful but concise messages in a minute or less. Well, actually, my first goal was just to create and publish a video in the first place, which is me facing my fears and breaking out of my comfort zone. My second goal was to speak for 3 minutes or less on a topic, which has been relatively easy to do. But my next challenge has been that 1 minute or less challenge I mentioned a moment ago. That has been rough. Actually, though, now that I've actually achieved it. But at the time of when I was preparing this podcast episode, I still hadn't done it yet. All my videos were at least a minute and 20 seconds, or a minute and 30 seconds, a minute and 5 or 6 seconds. It was always over that minute, even though I was trying to reduce the time. I just couldn't make it be under that 1 minute mark. But I finally was able to do it. Here's how. I've noticed, I have noticed, is that with each video recording I make, my talking time has started coming down because that's what I was paying attention to. When I was preparing this episode, my most recent video was just 14 seconds over my 1 minute goal. But guess what? I've been putting my reps in 1 or 2 videos a week. And now I've gotten a few 1 minute or less videos under my belt. And I even have a couple that are right on the 30-second mark. For me, that's serious progress. And it's all because I've been putting my reps in. The lesson for you, you need more reps against the clock in order to beat it. When I'm making my video recordings, I'm not just mindlessly yapping away. I'm talking and watching my timer. This takes a lot of practice. But the more you face that clock, the less intimidating it will become, and the more comfortable you will feel working with it. Now, let's talk about dealing with noise on your exam day. This one comes up so frequently that I want to address it here with you again. I've talked about dealing with distractions on test day before on a previous episode, so I'll be putting a link to that in my show notes today so that you can check it out if you'd like to go a little bit deeper on this topic. But today, I want to share a fresh idea with you. Previously, in a quick 2-second summary that I'll share here, I shared that to deal with noise on your test day, you need to actually practice in noisy environments instead of avoiding them. It doesn't have to be all the time you practice. But if you find that noise, like other people talking, messes you up, then you need to put yourself into situations where that is happening as you practice. This is vital. Don't avoid it. Here's a new idea that you can try. Turn on talk radio and have it playing in the background, or a talk TV show program. Let it play in the background as you're practicing your speaking test skills. Now, it shouldn't be blaring loud, but just loud enough that you can easily make out what people are saying. Next, set your timer, pull out your voice memo app, and go for it. Time yourself giving your responses in the middle of the noise. I guarantee you, this is going to be a challenging practice session for you. You'll likely screw it up the first few times, and that's a good thing. The stakes are zero. You want to get all the screw ups out of the way when it will cost you nothing more than your time. Just like putting in your reps against the clock will help you not get tripped up by it on test day, putting in your reps in the noise will also help you give your responses on test day and not be thrown off by it. Here's why you need a special kind of noise: cognitive load. That's the simple 2-word answer. Here's what it means. Cognitive load refers to the mental effort it takes to process information. When too much information and from multiple sources comes in at once, it becomes harder to actively pay attention. Extraneous cognitive load is the fancy term that is used. And it means that it's the demand on your working memory capacity imposed by distractions that are not directly relevant to what you're trying to do. And I'm pulling this quote from the BBC, and it's by a writer named Christian Jarrett. And I'm just going to backtrack a little bit and say that I am quoting from that website right now. Extraneous cognitive load. It means the demand on your working memory capacity imposed by distractions that are not directly relevant to what you're trying to do. This could be a basic secondary task in the background, such as trying to listen to a news bulletin while you're working at the same time. End quote. Having someone else talking in the background, either on the radio or on a podcast or on a TV show, can be a great practice activity for you because you need to learn how to tune it out so you don't get distracted while you speak. And remember, these distractions don't need to be loud and overpowering. Keep them as gentle background noise. The first few times you might suck at this, but keep going. Repetition will help you get better. And best of all, if distractions on test day are your nightmare, this kind of pre work can take you far to get ready for your big day. I hope you'll give these ideas a try. I promise you that they work. You just need to do them. What I like most, you don't need anyone else to help you to do it. You can totally do these on your own. They are simple but powerful, and I know they'll make a huge difference for you. Give them a try and let me know how they work. Welcome to the premium episode of this podcast. Do you have trouble staying focused while you practice? Do you feel like there's just so much happening in your life right now that staying focused on your CELPIP practice seems like an impossible feat? Then I want to offer you two quick but mighty ideas that work. I say quick and mighty because they literally take seconds to implement, and mighty because I've used them and I know they work. And I bet that they're going to help you too if you give them a try. First, and I wasn't thinking about talking about this, but it totally fits here. Simplify. What can you cut down on in your life to create space? You shouldn't try adding something to your already busy life like English practice unless you're also removing something. Your goal should be to remove more than you add so that you create surplus of your time. All right. Idea one, put your practice time on your calendar. If you're struggling to stay focused, if you're struggling with all the distractions that go on in your life every day, all the busyness of your life, put your practice time on your calendar every single day. And don't just stop there. Set a reminder alarm on your phone to go along with it. I've shared previously on other podcast episodes that this simple move has helped me start and maintain a stretching exercise routine that my physiotherapist has assigned to me. I was hopeless at doing this before I started programming it into my day. So put it on your calendar, set an alarm. I haven't missed a single day since I started doing it. My second idea for you is to use something called the Pomodoro technique. The what? I know that's a strange name, but the Pomodoro technique is also simple and powerful. And it uses a timer too. Set your timer for 25 minutes. During this time, you aren't allowed to do anything else except your practice task or whatever task you're trying to accomplish. When that alarm goes off, take a break. Disconnect completely from what you were working on. The common break time is about 5 minutes, and then you can reset your timer. Excuse me. The common break time is 5 minutes, and then you can reset your timer and go after another practice session. And if 25 minutes feels hard to do, set it for just 5. You need to become the person. Now, and if 25 minutes feels hard to do, set it for 5. Become the person who daily shows up for 5-minute practice sessions and then gradually build it up from there. Taking simple but mighty action like these each day stacks up. Best of all, it creates powerful momentum and will help you to feel amazingly good about yourself. I'm working on my English each day, one practice session at a time. Give it a try. I promise you that these two ideas work. And best of all, you don't need anyone else to help you to do it. They are simple but powerful strategies that will make a huge difference for you. That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you back here again in 2 weeks.